Hi everyone, this is Tony Wheel from today, sunny Florida. And yes, we have a cold snap here too. Can you imagine? I'm in central Florida between Tampa and Orlando, and it was freezing. Well, very close to. It was 34 degrees, and it felt like it was 6 degrees lower. Can you imagine that? Well, today it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's still nice, still sunny. And I know lots of most part of the country is very, very cold. I feel for you. I really do. We have Gary Parrott with us, but he has some technical issues and he is off and on. So I'll keep an eye on it, let him back in when needed. And we have Katie with us. Katie, where are you now? You're home?
I'm in South Dakota where
Oh,
it's a bit cold, but it's warming
your
up.
second home.
Well, it's really my first home.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And Sarah couldn't be with us today, so next week we have Sarah on too, and we're all here. And then we are going to talk about whatever comes up. So if you have questions, then you can put them in the chat today. If we don't get to it, we'll talk about it next week. I'm sure Katie has a bunch of questions from her people, and we can just talk about whatever. It will be the last one this year, and then we will be back. I think it is the second Thursday because I think the first Thursday is New Year's Day. And the reason that we're not on all the time or every week now is because we have three holidays in a row that are on a Thursday. So that is not a good day to do a podcast, and everyone is focused on other things. Family, I hope that's always the best,
Mhm.
or traveling, whatever it is, it is important. So I think, oh, Gary was back for a second.
Oh, I think I'm still. Am I still back?
I can hear you. I don't see. Now I see you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Today I was looking through some files I had in air, sunshine, and natural light. For your health that actually popped up, and we have been talking about this in the past. And one of the things that always gets me is that in the past, and there are photos about it, and they pop up for me on my Facebook profile or feed quite a bit, is that hospitals has these what they call solariums, and it was like a glass room where the windows could open, and actually the beds, they wheeled the beds into the sun as part of people's healing.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people have seen the one where they had a big platform where, oh, there were more than a dozen of beds out there out in the sun. So it is, they knew it helped with healing. And when I was little, and I was always warned to not go in the sun. Now, for me, it was, I'm a redhead with freckles. It was like, oh no, you cannot be in the sun and you burn, etc. Until I did these guided motorcycle tours, and I was always in the sun, and I stopped getting sunburns. So yes, of course, I had sunburns before, and you want to be careful with that. But I was like, let's go through this lesson. It comes again from natural hygiene, and I think it's awesome information. I am going to share this again. If I figured, I always have to figure out where am I going for that. Let me see. I know there is a share button right here. Share.
So I just wanted to say one thing about being in the sun. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're listening.
All right. People are like plants. Some like the shade, some like partial sun, some like full sun. So you have to figure out what your body is. And as your minerals from the correct diet, whether it's fruits, berries, melons, You know, you can have some vegetables that slows things down a little bit as far as detox goes. But the more minerals you have in your body, the more able you are to be in the sun and not have it affect your skin in a negative way, like getting a sunburn. So that's really important to remember is we're like plants, and how we are in the sun, nobody can predict that but your body and you. So don't be afraid to be in the sun. Sometimes you might sit under a tree and the light shining through the leaves, and it's the leaves are moving back and forth. And because they're moving back and forth, you're getting sun, but only for just a minimal amount of time as it moves back and forth across your body. That's another way to get some good sunlight. And that helps build vitamin K2, and it does it from cholesterol. So if you have too much cholesterol and you're not in the sun enough, maybe that's why you have high cholesterol. Then it could be a diet. But anyway, I'll finish right there. Just that we're like plants.
I
We're
had
like
not,
plants.
the minerals and the sunlight makes absolutely, absolutely sense, but I had not heard it like that before.
Yeah, it's
Because I'm always going back, okay, then the first years that I did get sunburn and I got these little sun blisters and and I had a sunstroke once too, so that was no fun.
no.
But that did not happen. That did not happen on one of these tours because what I used to do, because Dutch people they have their vacation, everyone does in the summertime.
Hmm.
So the tours that I did were always in the summertime, July, August.
Wow.
And that was always the hottest time here in the United States too, especially on California tours, where we went through that valley, and it was on the Route 66 tours that we did, and we did a side tour then to Las Vegas, and what is it, Western Arizona, Needles. Oh my God, it can be so hot there. But I was
Yeah.
always, of course, we always wear helmets, and I always had a long sleeve cotton or linen shirt, white. And so I didn't get, sun still gets through it somewhat,
Hmm.
but not as
Hmm.
bad. But yeah, I had always people with me, and that was before I knew that sunscreen is actually pretty bad. I never use sunscreen. I don't know what I had against it, but intuitive, I never used it. So what I did was just protect my skin with, to cover it up a little. And still, areas that have not been in the sun much, like your feet, for instance, can easily get sunburn. And that
Hmm.
happened to me too. But that it was related to minerals. And I know that because I didn't eat a lot of vegetables ever, not really a vegetable eater, although I love the fruit.
Hmm.
And I learned how to get the vegetables in if I made it in a smoothie. That works.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, this is a great information, Gary. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we go into the history of sunbathing, what I just mentioned before, and of course, it is old. People knew way more back then than what we seem to know now. So here it goes. Throughout recorded and unrecorded history, and prehistory, humans have made use of the beneficial effects of the sun. Playing and or relaxing in its illuminating rays have been as much a part of natural living as the procuring of food and water or any other necessity of human life. Indeed, humans originally existed without clothing on any part of their body and
Hmm.
were sun-kissed throughout the years of their lifespan. Gosh, this brings me back to some oh my gosh, the thoughts that come up in my mind. I did a sunbathing once with no clothes on in the privacy of my yard, no neighbors. But There was a slow train passing in my pretty much passing in my backyard, and I forgot about that.
Oh, well.
Anyway, I got sunburned that time because I was still learning. Long, long time ago. I was in my 20s.
Hmm.
Positive evidence of the use of the sunbath is offered to us by many of the ancient civilizations. It is known that the Babylonians, Egyptians, Assyrians, Greeks, and Romans all were aware of the hygienic use of the sun and equipped their cities with sun gardens for the purpose. Akhenaton of Egypt, Zoroaster of Persia, and Hippocrates of Greece all looked upon the sun as a great force and worshipped it as a god. An example of this worship is given to us by the Egyptians, whose first temple was erected in honor of their sun god. It was located in a city called On, east of the Nile, and its name was later changed to Heliopolis, City of the Sun. The ancients knew of the effects of the sun had on strengthening the body, including the muscles and nerves, and
Hmm.
extensive instructions were given in this regard by Herodotus. The Romans applied this knowledge in the training of the gladiators, giving them regular sunbaths. It is also known from the writing of Philostratus that the Olympian athletes were required to take sunbaths. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. In the old German epic poem, the Edda, we learn of the hygienic use the Germans made of the sunshine, carrying their sick to the sunny mountain slopes for exposure to its rays. Didn't that come out in a book? Or yeah, it was first in a book from Heidi. That's what they did with Heidi too when she was sick. Have you ever
Hmm.
read that book or saw that movie?
No.
Oh, that's what I grew up with as a child, Heidi. That was because I loved the story. And she
Mm.
got better in the healthy air and the sunshine. An account has also been recorded regarding the Incas of Peru using the sunbath in the treatment of syphilis. In the 3rd century AD, Mithraism, or sun worship, came very close to being accepted as the universal religion. It was very similar to Christianity in many essential respects. The final triumph of Christianity practically ended the sunbath, even though it was so widely employed by the peoples of that time. The sunbath was viewed by Christians as a pagan ritual. This condemnation of the sunbath could be considered the beginning of an era known as the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, where and when many of the desirable features of ancient civilization were destroyed and replaced by an anti-natural philosophy and culture. During this 1,000-year reign, only the Jewish and Arabian physicians preserved the sunbath in their care of the sick. Well, they did it still early 1900s and maybe even before. Definitely in Germany and I know of Italy. Regarding the modern phase of sunbathing, they were a dual origin, one of these in Europe, the other in the United States. First, we shall discuss the European phase. Waldvogel of Bohemia advocated sunbathing as far back as 1755, but he had few, if any, followers. Madame Duhamel in 1857 believed in the use of the sunbath to aid children in their recovery from tuberculosis. Yeah, we knew that too. As a child, we heard about that. Dr. Lahmann of Germany employed the sun and air cure in his institution as this builds in his world-famous sanitarium as early as 1872-73. But the person who is given credit as the originator of the modern practice of sunbathing is Arnold Rickley, who prescribed sunbaths to his patients at his institution established at the Wellness Cry on the Adriatic Sea in 1855. He wrote several books describing the methods, the principal ones being translated into Spanish, French, and Italian languages. The first series of observations related to the effect of sunlight on disease were made by Dr. Lancet of Lyon in France about 1890, 1900. In 1911, Dr. Rollier, a Swiss physician, also did some work in this area. Both of these people enjoyed favorable results, and as a result, sunbathing has continued to grow in popularity in all parts of Europe. One last name should be mentioned, that of Dr. Vincent of Denmark, whose comparative experience with the rays of both sunlight and artificial light became largely responsible for the vast array of artificial lighting apparatus used in the treatment of disease. In the United States, the first advocate of sunbathing was Sylvester Graham, a pioneer hygienist who not only discussed the importance of sunshine, but also the detrimental effects of clothing. He presented his ideas in his masterful work, Lectures on the Science of Human Life, first published in 1843, stressing the benefits of sunshine and on bone growth and development. Another hygienist, Dr. Russell Thrall, placed great emphasis upon the power of sunlight in both health and disease. His writings, published around the mid-19th century, clearly show a deep awareness and understanding of the need for sunlight and its value in cases of rickets, scrofula, and anemia. Although credit is generally given to Holchinski, who in 1919 proved the definite value of sunshine in overcoming rickets, Dr. Trail was actually about 70 years ahead of him making this discovery. Additionally, Dr. James C. Jackson and Dr. Dio Lewis both used the sunbath in caring for their patients at around the same time as Dr. Trail. These facts point out that these individuals were using the sunbath previous to Dr. Lancet's observation as to the effects of sunlight in disease between 1819 and 1900. Actually, the sunbath has been employed in this country for over 100 years, especially among the pioneer hygienists who have not received their due recognition. Now, what my mother used to do was, and I've seen that a lot in the Netherlands, and I think it was all over Europe. I don't know beyond that, is when putting sheets or blankets out in the sun to get rid of bacteria. Have you heard that?
Yes, my mother used to do that.
Oh, see, here in the U.S. too.
And
Nowadays, if I would do that here, the HOA would would get really upset.
well, of course, you'd be trying to do something to get healthy.
Yeah, and that is the same as in the Netherlands, we were really taught to cover ourselves head to toe always,
Mm-hmm.
and not go out in the sun. And then it came out how dangerous it is, and it causes cancer. Because there was a lot more, and I think when it started was there was a lot more cancer in Australia than anywhere else because Australia had so much more sun. I don't know if that is true. What the reason was. I always like to go to diet wise. Sarah always has a great story about that with the sun and how she doesn't get sunburn anymore. And
Right.
yeah,
One
and
of my
hearing, yeah, go ahead.
one of my girlfriends, she could not go out in the sun. And we started going for walks and things like that, and took about 6 months, and she can be in full sun all day now. But she would burn like really quick. You have to give your body time to adjust, you know. The sun is the other half of our lymphatic system because it makes you sweat. So it's pulling toxins out of the body and it's keeping that flow going. So, you know, that's why they took the sun away from us and started slathering us with sunscreens and
Now, there is something that came up, and I noticed that probably 10, 15 years ago, and there have been a lot of stories about it. Some will call it conspiracy, but and I was outside quite a bit. I had to go to help someone twice a day, so I had to go over there. Sun is usually out here, and all of a sudden I noticed how much more burning the sun was, uncomfortably hot and a different color.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we went back to normalcy with that or what was going on. Because there have been a lot of stories out there, like, the sun is not the same. And it's like, how can the sun be not the same? Is it of all the spraying in the air? What really happened? But it was like, it didn't feel, it only felt very hot, very intense heat.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that is the stuff they're spraying in the air because it has metal in it.
Right.
And the heat is reflecting back down from those clouds.
Yeah, they just
Well, they're
did
not
new,
really clouds.
yeah, they just recently, I read about a new test that it was mostly aluminum in it. And I know they used, even probably goes back as 100 years ago, they used aluminum for cloud seeding. So
Yes.
there is a lot of that in there. And still, I cannot be in the sun very long. We had a few days, weeks of no trails
Mhm.
whatsoever in the sky, but they're all back.
Yeah.
All right, the use of sunshine. Both plants and animals make use of the catalytic powers of sunlight. What is catalytic?
Must be rays from the sun. I don't
Okay,
know. I don't know.
okay. Catalytic powers of sunlight attaining the highest form of their development in the neighborhood of the equator, where the sun's rays are the most abundant. At the equator, life exists in greatest profusion, but as we approach the higher latitudes, where nights are longest throughout the many winter months, we notice life consists of poorly developed forms or it's absent altogether. Sunlight is an essential nutritive factor to both plant and animal life. We are part of animal life, by the way.
Hmm.
Under its influence, plants both excrete and absorb oxygen. Their leaves are able to absorb carbon dioxide from the air and convert it into plant substance by transforming the carbon dioxide into formaldehyde. This in turn is polymerized to sugar, thus forming a carbohydrate. This is the process of photosynthesis, and both chlorophyll and xanthophyll are associated with this process, making the green color of plant life. Additionally, the conversion of starch into sugar during the ripening process of fruits requires the action of both the heat and light of the sun for perfection. The beautiful coloring of the flowers, stems, leaves, and fruits of plants are all dependent on sunlight for their production. When deprived of it, the result is an inferior plant, pale or colorless, that is said to be etiolated. Etiolated. Well, that explains the plants I have in-house don't get sun. They get light, but don't get sun, and their color is definitely different than what I have outside. The color of butterflies, birds, and animals are also determined by light, as is their complete development. An example of this was given by Dr. Trill. He pointed out that in a tadpole, the process of metamorphosis is arrested if it is deprived of sunlight. It is unable to develop into a frog. Rather, it continues to grow as a tadpole. I didn't know that. Complete absence of light results in blindness and even eyelessness. See, we need, and that is also with people wearing sunglasses all the time.
Yes. Not good.
Now, I haven't, I think when I started with Dr. Morse, that's now more than 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. And it was not because I was told I shouldn't use it, but I didn't feel the need to grab my sunglasses to protect my eyes. So I haven't worn any in all this time. So it's with diet, it definitely changed something too with the fruit raw diet. Sunlight also enables the animal body to assimilate calcium, and it is because of this that it is of great value in the prevention of rickets and tuberculosis. A lack of calcium is associated with both of these conditions. This assimilation of calcium may be observed by comparing chicken eggs of various birds. Those raised in the sunlight produce harder and thicker shells than those not so exposed. The influence of sunlight is also intimately related to the number of red cells and hemoglobin in the blood. An insufficiency of light will cause an increase in the serum or watery portion of the blood and corresponding decrease in the quantity of blood fibrin and red corpuscles, resulting in anemia. But with sufficient sunlight, the oxygen carrying power of the blood is increased, the circulation of the blood is improved, and consequently, the blood's power to repair and build tissue is increased. Sunlight's influence on the muscles is to add to their size and quality and to enhance their contractile powers by improving the condition of the entire body, including the nerves that controls the muscles. In addition, by improving the overall health and vitality of the body, sunshine is the finest cosmetic, helping the body to smooth away wrinkles, not to cause them, to smooth away the wrinkles, to strengthen and tone the skin, and at the same time to ensure a soft, delicate texture and overall beauty. It may also be said that in general, the pigmented skin is stronger, contributes to the health of the entire organism, and therefore is subject to fewer diseases and is less sensitive to heat and cold. My gosh, people, get out in the sun when you can. Did you know all this, Gary, Katie?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you know that that it helps the body to smooth away wrinkles? I have to admit I did not. Because
Well,
what I see is that people here getting older are in the sun a lot and they are so wrinkly, but they are also very, 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 very dehydrated.
super dehydrated, and you can have, just like anything, you can have too much sun exposure. And that's going to uh, affect that. But, a lot of the diets are on, they don't have any collagen. So, the skin functions on collagen and minerals and vitamins, and they're supposed to be in our food. And because they're taking them away, we're getting weaker and weaker as a species. And all of a sudden, we're putting this stuff on to block the sun from our skin. And that is a known cancer causing agent, many of the things in it. And so our skin is our largest eliminative organ. Well, if you're blocking the sun from doing its thing, it's not producing vitamin K. It's not causing you to sweat as much, and so it's interrupting the flow of the lymph elimination. And if you do that, it's like what Dr. Moore said, what you suppress today will become your nightmare tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that is a great example of that, is they've convinced people that the sun is bad for us, but it's only been in the past 50 years. Well, if it's 1 billion years old, they don't actually know how old anything is. Uh, they have carbon dating and all that, but you have to believe in that stuff first. It's the illusion that they are intelligent. And if you just look at the health of this nation and the world and what's going on, the experts are not that expert at anything that they do. That doesn't mean there haven't been some good things created, but the long-term care in this country, we're at the bottom of all countries. Doesn't matter if they're a superpower or not, because we're not taking care of our citizens. We're actually making them sick for profit, and that's the last thing that we want to do, is get hypnotized by a system that is doing that. And they're trying to accelerate what they're doing. And that's what's waking us up. So it's double-edged sword. It's good and bad.
Yeah,
that,
it is, especially with blocking the sun on your skin with these
mhm,
creams and lotions and whatever. It is, on my vacation, I had a we were traveling with a family member, and I love her dearly. It's an amazing woman, and she was putting sunscreen on, and she offered it to me. And I said, no, thanks. It's cancer forming. And she got really, really upset with me.
oh, sure. Yeah.
And I was like, I have to let this go. And I did mention that I worked with people who were using it and stopped using it. And she said, oh, and I have people who got cancer who didn't use it. And I'm like, they got skin cancer. Yeah,
It's
I
not
don't
because,
know. I especially in the Netherlands, the Netherlands, the sun is not even as hot as it actually is here because we're further south here, but it's used a lot. I mean, really a lot. Now,
mhm,
there is one time that I was in the sun way too long, and that was when I had to get my motorcycle license here in the US.
mhm,
And of course, I had it in the Netherlands, but when you live here, you have to get the US one. And I was on the motorcycle in the sun. That was probably 4 hours.
mhm,
And I got blisters on my lip, unbelievable. Half my lip was covered. It was so, so, so bad.
mhm.
And probably if I had put a lip balm on it, it wouldn't have been as bad. But I was like, no, I don't need that. Well, that is one I would protect my lips. If I would be long in the sun, I would protect it.
Yeah, and know, I don't know how many of your audience know this. I know you do. Your skin is your third kidney. It's the largest eliminative organ in the body, on the body, however you want to look at that. And they used to teach us that it was the barrier between you and the outside world until they created a nicotine patch. And then all of a sudden, when you put it on, it absorbs through the skin and goes into the body.
Can we not talk about that because that blocked our previous video?
Oh, it did?
Yes, that was the reason it was taken down.
Yeah, the truth hurts, I guess. So,
We cannot say anything that would be a medical claim and people and the bots, the what is it, the AI bots from YouTube. This is for entertainment
that's right.
purpose only. We do not give any medical advice. We are not doctors. We only talk about our own experiences. Okay. So yeah, we'll leave that maybe for a time where I'm not gonna do it on YouTube. YouTube is not
Yeah.
ready for that yet.
Okay. The world is, but YouTube isn't. So
Yeah,
anyway,
YouTube is not. Although I see that a lot of people are getting their channels back.
yeah.
And we have been lucky. The one about fasting where we talked briefly about it. We not about fasting, but about the nicotine. That was the reason they took it down, and I went against it, and they didn't accept my explanation. So that one is now on another uh, platform.
All platforms.
Yes, so I can send that link for anyone who is interested in it. It wasn't. It was completely taken away from YouTube. There was not even. I could see it in the back office there, or in the studio as they call it. It was just completely gone. But I everything is recorded, so I put it on DinTube, and I have a link for that there,
Mm-hmm.
including
So,
including the offensive section
yeah,
about what we think about a certain topic.
that's right. That's right. So,
Okay, yeah, what
and
else?
and and another thing too is salt. We need real salt. And this will help the skin a lot because it is a sterilizer. And water follows salt. That's why if you're in a dehydrated situation, they give you 9,000 milligrams of salt. But don't you do salt on your own because you don't know what you're doing, right? And if you have heart issues, they'll give you 18. They'll give you 2 bags. There's 9,000 milligrams in each bag. So if you have heart trouble, they'll give you 18,000 milligrams of salt to rehydrate your body. Well, why wait? Why not put just a pinch of salt in your stuff, get the salt in your body? We are a sodium battery. That's what the human body is. And it works on compression, decompression. Compression is the inhale, decompression is the exhale. And when you do that fully to the top on the inhale and fully out on the exhale, you hold top and bottom, it will completely change your life and how your body works internally. It is the internal strength of the body, the breath and the salt charges it, energizes it. It helps to get rid of mucus around the cells that are experiencing malabsorption. Um, as that works and it goes inside the cell eliminates, and it eliminates the salt that is no longer able to sterilize and the impurities that are in there, the toxins, into the interstitial pathways where the lymph comes along, picks it up, and helps to eliminate it. Well, if anywhere in that process the flow ends, and it can be like your liver or your kidney or whatever, anywhere in the body, any tissue, you're going to start to experience inflammation, which all inflammation is in the lymphatic system. As we reduce that, the inflammation goes away, the pain goes away, arthritis will go away because arthritis is dehydration and lack of nutrition going into the joint. So these are kind of the things that we want to remember is when we're talking about sun, the sun's rays are affecting us chemically in our body, and it's helping to eliminate toxins. And you're not gonna change that by smearing yourself with sunscreen or anything else as far as that goes.
Yeah,
Collagen,
some people even use oils like coconut oil.
yeah, yeah, and I think that has a effect as far as sunscreen goes. I think it's either 15 or 30%, which is pretty high. So if you put coconut oil, you're getting some sunscreen, but it'll let the skin do its thing. It'll let the lymphatic system do its thing. It is a lipid-based system.
Yeah, somehow, Gary, in on average, we are not that intuitive about what our body needs and how long. Because
Right.
we see sunbathers, and I never could do that. I'm at 10, 20 minutes in the sun, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm done. And but there are people who want to have a tan. A tan seemed, I don't know why, it seemed so important. And I've discussed it with people before. And for the Netherlands, we came up with, well, if people have a tan, then it looks like they were on vacation and they will be able to it showed that they were wealthy enough to go on vacations to Spain, Italy is what the Dutch usually did. So we were, like figuring out why do people do that? But I see it here too. I mean, I see people who have a very light skin, then they are, oh, so many tints darker than what would be normal. And yeah. And it's like it is an yeah, and that is the funny thing. Like if you have a good suntan, then you appear to be healthier. And I don't know if it's that normal. You have a certain tan on your skin, and why does it need to be darker? It's like, but maybe because, I do tan a little,
Mhm.
not a lot, but
Right.
yeah.
It's just
Well,
good to
let's,
get the
yeah.
sun on your skin.
I'm sorry.
It's just good to get the sun on your skin, even if it's only for a few seconds.
Yeah, yeah. See, I wear glasses, and what I do, I don't do sun gazing, but what I do is, close my eyes and then get the sun on my eyelids, and I'm like, that should work too. So then I take my glasses off.
Yeah, absolutely, because your glasses will magnify the sun around your eyes.
Yeah, well, if I'm in the sun, I take my glasses off.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and just a good thing, you should. Uh, to make an energy ball and close the light off to your eyes just by putting the palm of your hands over and not on your, like, try to keep your palm of your hand off your eyelashes. Takes about 25% of our available energy for our eyes to work and read and do everything and send information back and forth to the brain. Uh, when you cover your eyes for just a matter of seconds, that 25% is redistributed through the body to help heal it.
oh wow.
So that's something too. I mean, we're talking about light. Well, we can't have light without darkness, right? So that's one of the things that we can do. The light is actually giving our eyes information. And when we put our eyes in the dark, the energy it was using is redistributed through the body. So I thought that was pretty cool when I found
Yeah,
out about that.
yeah. Here is a section about pregnancy, and I think that is quite important too. Regarding
Mhm.
the pregnant mother and an unborn child, it must be noted that the benefits to be derived from sunlight are greatest during periods of development and rapid gains in flesh. Sunshine again, by improving overall health and vitality, aids in the skeletal development of the baby and helps preserve the normal alkalinity of his or her blood. Additionally, it influence on the unborn will aid in promoting sounder sleep, deeper, slower breathing, diminished blood pressure, and an increase in urinary excretion. Sunbaths before and after childbirth will increase the mother's ability to nurse her child with an improvement in the quality of the milk.
Mhm.
Isn't that amazing? It will produce better general health in the mother and prevent the loss of blood, making for a more painless delivery. Another benefit is that pregnant mothers who get sunlight will not experience tiredness, backaches, and loss of appetite. Yeah, when they also drink enough. Think that is still a big
Say
part.
that, say that last part of that again.
Another benefit is that pregnant mothers who get sunlight will not experience tiredness, backaches, and loss of appetite.
Okay. I can believe that, but I think there's more that goes with that. But yeah, we our bodies, well, think about it. If you lived in total darkness all the time with no sunlight, I'm not talking about people that can't see. I'm talking about people that are living in a cave and they never see the light of day. They'll go blind. I mean, they don't have a choice. It's the light that keeps us alive. We are light. That's what our mitochondria is. It's a little engine inside the cell, and it's projecting out into the world the energy that's going on inside your body. And if your light is dim, you can be depressed or angry or mad or frightful or fear moving forward. These are all energy bandits they're stealing, and let alone impingements in the joints, you know. When you start doing qigong and you get all those pops and cracks and things from just movement. Well, there's a reason for that. And it's stealing your energy because those joints are not being fed and cleaned. And if you don't feed and clean the internal body, the external body is going to suffer. Everything the body doesn't want, it pushes out. And it usually starts showing up on the skin. Everything that it wants, it's supposed to absorb. But if you have a malabsorption issue, well, you're not absorbing everything that all the goodness of what you are eating. So cleaning out the lymphatic system will push all that out. You'll have more energy to digest your food and to live your life. You know, we must remember that as we get weaker and we eat a big meal or we have a few drinks, and I'm talking alcohol when I say a few drinks, people will fall asleep. because the body's not producing enough energy to digest the food and to allow you to do your daily activity. So you fall asleep. And this is what's happening to people at the office under artificial lights, and they're sitting, all their gates are closed. They're 6 lymphatic gates. Their body is running on less and less energy all the time. And everything in the body is starting to steal it because it has to fight to get through it, just to keep you alive. The body wants to live. It's our training, our mental manipulation that has brought us so far off course that we don't even have the correct amount of energy anymore. And I mean, it's something that I hear, and it's not just me. People who do qigong and do breath work, people around them start to feel the energy as it expands from the body, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And there will be no fatigue. Matter of fact, they usually sleep less hours. People that have great energy, because they don't need that much rest, and that's why they want to sleep in 8 hours. You don't need to sleep 8 hours. You don't need to eat 3 times a day. So getting out in the sunlight and not laying there. Okay, this is another thing. People that go out and work, they're working in the garden, they're doing things, their whole sunlight exposure is a whole lot different than somebody that just goes out and lays in the sun. The movement is helping to push, the muscles are helping to move, the fascia, everything is starting to flow because of the movement and that you're in the sunlight. And if you're just out there laying there, and there are people that can do that, but why would you go lay in the sun and cover yourself with sunblock? That part always amazed me. But anyway, I'll leave it right there.
I think it's for the 10, and we get there in a minute. I first have a section about sunshine and sickness, and
Yep.
it is also quite interesting because the sun is not like a cure for a disease condition. Now, it
Mm-mm.
hasn't been shown that after a fast or a wasting illness, obtaining sufficient sunshine will enable the body to build higher quality flesh. It will also enable the body to most efficiently digest and assimilate food. This is
Mm-hmm.
not to imply that we should wait to become sick to make use of sun's rays. The sun is not a therapeutic agent. It is an essential of good health and nutrition. This is a very important sentence here. It is essential of good health and nutrition. Sunlight is of value in all states and conditions of the body and in all stages of development. Now, they said here, we spoke earlier of the great importance sunlight plays in proper bone development. This is due to the fact that only through the aid of sunlight, particularly the ultraviolet rays, may the laying down and fixation of the calcium and phosphorus salt be accomplished in an ideal fashion as to make for the transformation of cartilage into bone. On the other hand, when insufficient sunlight is obtained, the result is defective, misshapen, brittle, and easily broken bones, a condition known as rickets. Wow, I think there is a part in between that before it is rickets that you, or called rickets, that you already have issues with your bones, maybe even, yeah, what you mentioned, including like arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
or when you have, getting older and have brittle bones. And a lot of, if you fall, you break something or you break your hip. I had a neighbor who broke his hip recently. I know a younger person, it just turned 50, already needs replacement of a hip. And I think that's, very few of us get enough sun, let's say it that way. Sunlight also proves invaluable in cases of glandular inactivity, favorably affecting irregulations of ovulation, pubertal difficulties, and impotency. Acne, a condition repressing a glandular disturbance of the skin, is also noticeably aided by sunlight, as is the condition of psoriasis. and I had psoriasis. Also, a sunshine aid in increasing the coagulating power of the blood. Coagulating power of the blood. It is of inestimable value to suffer us from uterine hemorrhage. Additionally, if cautiously applied, the sunbath can be very valuable in some nervous affections. I have to be honest, I did not realize how important the sun really is for everything in your body, which is kind of ignorant for me because I have a lot of plants around my house. I love them. And we all know, we grew up with that. We learned it in school. Plants need sunlight. And very few plants will do well without any sunlight. And then to think that we can do without I spent most of my life working indoors.
Mhm.
And I have been a fashion designer, so I had my what was called an atelier, or you can call it a studio here. And I was always inside. Then I had a travel business and design, and I was working on a computer. And what am I doing now? Working on a computer, being inside.
Mhm.
So I don't work as much as I used to, so I have no excuse to not go out in the sun at times. But it's something like you're working and it's like you forget the importance and you don't even think about yourself and that is we are the most important person in our life. I mean, you know, so we have to take care of ourselves and we have to do it very well. And we can only help by giving you the information and it's yeah, you do what you need to do. Anyway, we get to the part of the sun tanning and sunburn. Sun tanning is the bronzing or browning of the skin due to a deposit of pigment or melanin granules around the nuclei of the epidermal and basal cells. This process of pigmentation is the most important protecting mechanism against sunburn because it prevents the overabsorption of ultraviolet rays. So actually, tanning is protecting us.
Say
Just
that again. The what's
tanning,
protecting?
yeah, getting a tan is protecting us from
Oh, yes.
sunburn. That is what he says here.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Getting a tan will protect you because your skin's strong enough to be able to be out in the sun. Getting to that point is good hydration, breath work, nutrition, and keeping your lymphatic system clean
Right.
because that's your
Have
immune
a
system.
yeah, definitely have a less acidic body.
Yes. Because acid, if you have a lot of acid in your lymph and it's right under your skin, well, it's already hot. And when the sun hits it, it burns you. But if your body's alkaline, it'd be almost impossible to get a sunburn. I'm
Yeah,
not, I said almost impossible.
yeah. We also come to a part of thickening skin. I see that a lot here with people who are do all this yard work. They are out in the
Mhm.
sun the whole day.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. And okay, just as chlorophyll is formed as a light screen in plants, humans deposit a brown pigment called melanin when in the presence of sunlight. This pigment deposit absorbs the visible and ultraviolet rays, converts them into rays of less energy and lower vibration, and then passes them on onto the deeper cells of the epidermis. A combination of the infrared and ultraviolet rays will result in the deepest pigmentation. It must be understood in this context that the sun rays do not produce pigment, rather, they occasion its formation. Pigmentation is a physiological process, pigment being manufactured within the body from the elements of food and deposited in the skin by the processes of life. The tanning process is totally dependent upon the body's ability to make use of the sun. A lack of response may commonly be seen of leukoderma, where the white patches of skin fail to produce pigment. I last had a question of a person who has this and wondered what it is. And I started to wonder, okay, could it be that your body is very acidic and this is just a response where the you cannot make use of the sun and your pigment is just like, well, disappearing or not working. And you've seen that. And didn't what's his name? Michael Jackson have that he got these white patches?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's diet. It's lack of breath and hydration. Uh, it's not that hard to reverse that.
I don't think he had time to go in the sun either.
Yeah, and is that called alopecia or something like that?
Yeah, there is another word from here. They call it leukoderma, but
Oh, leukoderma. Okay.
yeah, well, a lack of response may commonly be seen in cases of leukoderma where the white patches of skin fail to produce pigment. The second protective mechanism the body uses against too much sunshine is the thickening of the corneum, the uppermost layer of the skin. This process is undesirable as it results in a harsh, dry, coarse skin. It is largely to avoid this dryness that olive oil and other commercial preparations are used on the skin, but it is far wiser to avoid excessive exposure by retreating to the shade or cover your skin like I did on my motorcycle tours. We must distinguish between suntan and sunburn. The latter is a true burn and injures the skin just as if it was fire or scalding water. An inflammatory process results and may be accompanied by severe blisters, general discomfort, and later a peeling of the dead tissue. I think we've all had that happen to us at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
As in other burns, there are 3 degrees of sunburn. A first-degree burn produces redness due to an excess of blood in the skin, causing much or little discomfort, depending upon the severity of the burn. In second-degree burns, the skin becomes intensely red and painful to the touch, and may be accompanied by diarrhea, fever, and/or vomiting. Blisters may develop, and then burns discharge their fluid content over the body. There's also much itching and finally peeling of the skin. A third-degree burn results in a slouching dermatitis and may end in death. Complications may develop, such as inflammation of the brain, stomach, and intestines, blood poisoning, and hemorrhages. My gosh, yeah, the second-degree burn, I definitely had that happen to me.
Me
The
too. I've had it
sun,
happen.
yeah, the sun bath plays a vital role in the life processes of human nutrition, the tanning process being coincident with them. There is a tendency to overexpose the skin to acquire a good tan, and this should be avoided as it will enervate the body, lessening the value of the sunbath. The untanned body should begin with exposure to solar rays of about 10 minutes a day and increase gradually until an hour or more may be taken without harm. Too much sun will result in restlessness and decreased nerve tone. Additional precaution must be taken by blonde and red-haired people as they do not pigment as readily as dark-haired people. Heliophobes, those individuals who redden and blister, are cautioned to stay out of the sun, should still take sunbaths, but do so for the short periods during the early morning or late afternoon hours to avoid large amounts of ultraviolet rays. This was my mother. My mother, she was super, super light-skinned, very big patches, very big what is the word again? Oh my gosh. Freckles. Okay. So she never got out in the sun, not even for 3 minutes. She just like, even if she had to, we all had, our laundry, on these big laundry things that you had outside. She couldn't even do that. She no, she never liked being in the sun. You could say hated the sun and lived completely inside. Nevertheless, she still made it to almost 89. Not
Yeah,
not
everyone's
not too
different.
healthy though.
Yeah, everyone is different though.
Yeah, it's yeah, well, she still enjoyed her life, and
Mhm.
that was important too. The sunbath should be taken in an entirely nude state or with scanty attire, preferably without glasses or hats, as the eyes and hair also benefit. Sunglasses render the eyes more sensitive to the sunlight and ultimately impair the vision, whereas it has been found that gazing directly in the sun greatly benefits weak eyesight. Yeah, I would say be careful with it. And
Yes.
if you do it, do morning sun and very short periods of times. It is also known that sunlight accelerate the growth of hair. And then here they have all these bald guys and they put a sun cap up. And they don't get sun on their skull anymore.
Mhm.
Suntan lotion or olive oil on the skin is unnecessary and should not be used. These will prevent all the ultraviolet rays from being absorbed and will inhibit the oil secreting glands of the body from working properly. They will not prevent the injurious effects of excessive sunbathing, nor will they provide for a uniform tan. Remember, it is not mere tanning that we seek, but a general revitalizing of the entire organism, not confined to the skin alone. Suntan lotion or olive oil on the skin are unnecessary and should not be used. That it is in here twice, so we're going to skip that. If the sunbath is taken at the beach, additional cautions must be exercised, as the reflection from the sand and water cause more sun rays to strike the body. Thus, burning will result more quickly. Neither a thin haze over the sun nor a cool breeze will prevent the ultraviolet rays from reaching us. It is important to understand in this context that it's not the sun's heat from which we benefit, except secondarily on a cold day, but rather its light. The hot sun is very exhausting and should be avoided. And like other animals, we should instinctively seek the shade at these times. Those people living in colder climates must take advantage of the warmer months to secure an ample supply of sun-made reserves to carry them through sunless periods. This is not to say that the body stores up sunshine, but rather it stores up substances produced with the aid of sunshine to be used in times of stringency. Along with vitamin D, other materials are synthesized in the body with the aid of the sun's rays. These body reserves will be adequate as long as the general mode of living throughout the year is not enervating. All forms of excesses, dissipations of the emotions, lack of rest and sleep, sexual excesses, overwork, and/or an improper diet will waste these reserves. Some additional precautions should be noted in the case of invalids or generally weak individuals. If the sunbath leaves the person feeling weak or depressed or with an increase in any of his or her symptoms, then it has been overdone. Fever, headaches, weariness, loss of appetite, and sleeplessness may all be considered signs of excess. In those individuals suffering from asthma or tuberculosis, difficulty in breathing may be experienced. Nervous patients may not be able to sleep due to a stimulating effect caused by too much sun. The end result for securing the sunbath should be to produce a better feeling in the individual, not worse. A person's need for sunlight is dependent upon their ability to make use of these light rays. Overindulgence of the sunbath will lend to additional enervation and serves no useful purpose. Okay, what else do we have here other than it's a long one about yeah, air and breathing. We don't get through all of it because it's already 10 minutes past the hour. Um, yeah, I think the artificial light, because so many of us are pretty much stuck with artificial light. I think this is an important section too. Unless you say you can put that all in a few sentences, Gary. Yeah, natural light versus artificial light. I will read it. Sunlight, when broken up by means of a prism, is found to be composed of the color bands of the spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. These different colors represent different rates of vibration, increasing as we go from red to violet, while their wavelength decreases. These visible rays give us sensations of light, color, and heat. In addition to these color rays, sunlight also contains other rays not perceptible to our ocular sense and therefore invisible. The wavelengths immediately shorter than visible violet and those immediately longer than visible red are both invisible to humans and are called ultraviolet and infrared, respectively. Regarding the heating power of sunlight, it is found to be the greatest at the red end of the spectrum, where it blends with the infrared rays, while the greatest chemical activity takes place at the violet end, blending with the ultraviolet rays. These invisible rays of the sun are the most beneficial ones. However, the complete color spectrum, blended in perfect perfection as so to produce white light, is needed for ideal growth and development of both plants and animals in us. Artificial light does not radiate a complete spectrum, but instead produces a light with an excess of one or more of the color rays. In the case of incandescent lighting, most of its light is yellow, orange, and red, whereas the standard cool white fluorescent light emits mostly yellow-green light. The various so-called sun lamps produces either too much ultraviolet or too much infrared radiation and are definitely harmful. They may cause headaches, third-degree burns, and severe conjunctivitis. The effects of artificial lighting have been noticed in both plants and animals. John Ott of the Time-Lapse Research Laboratory discovered that the apples on the branch of a tree under artificial light grew larger than those growing under natural light, but they did not mature or ripen. Despite the addition of many chemical products to produce more color in the fruit never acquired color until exposed to ultraviolet rays from the sun. So here we go with the idea of growing the greens and some fruits inside, because even with the lights, the growing lights, they don't really get what they need. Further observation made by Ott revealed that the ratio of the sexes of plants was affected by different wavelengths of the spectrum. Experimenting on a pumpkin vine raised in a basement under a skylight and a cool pinkish white fluorescent light, it was noticed that the female pumpkin producing flower turned yellow, then black, and finally dried up and dropped off the vine. Consequently, the vine did not produce fruit. When these lights were replaced with tubes containing more blue in them, the female buds developed bountiful, while the male buds dried up, turned black, and dropped off the vine at an early stage. The usual ratio of male to female buds on a pumpkin vine is 7:1 respectively. However, in these artificial lighted plants, normal reproduction could not take place. In general, it has been observed that plants grow in artificial light lack the rugged constitution of plants growing under natural light conditions. Their growth may be stimulated by subjecting them to longer hours of light as compared to the natural light cycle of the revolving earth. But this forced growth produces plants bearing flowers and fruit of lesser quality and color appeal than those grown in sunlight. The animal world is also adversely affected by variants of light wavelengths. Yeah, our poor indoor cats and dogs. In an experiment conducted to determine the effects of different light on animals, 1,000 mice were used and divided among 3 different light environments. Those receiving natural daylight produced an equal amount of male and female offspring. Those under white fluorescent bulbs produce 70% females and 30% males, and those under pink fluorescent bulbs produce 30% females and 70% males. This latter group did not thrive as well as either of the other two groups. All those exposed to the pink light quit breeding 2 months earlier and died 1 month earlier than those exposed to the white light. All these experiments were made with a strain of mice in which malignancy develops in 89% of that. Almost all the mice did succumb to cancer. Now that tells you something. However, those mice under natural daylight developed cancer 2 months later than those under the white fluorescent bulbs, and 3 months later than those under the pink fluorescent bulbs. An additional effect was noticed. Those mice receiving the pink light gave birth to young, which were smaller in number and size than those mice receiving natural light. Now, there is more to it. Other investigations have shown that light definitely affects the pituitary gland, as well as other areas in the midbrain and hypothalamic regions. In the early 1920s, William Rowan demonstrated that a firing seasonal length of the daylight was responsible for the migration of birds. In other studies conducted by Bochenek, Marburg, and Gudden, it was shown that light may occasion reaction again. It was shown that light may occasion reaction on the entire endocrine system of an animal via nerve impulses originated in the retina and reaching other areas of the brain by way of accessory optic pathways. Thus, artificial light, not being of the same quality as natural light, can play havoc with the endocrine system via the nerves. Yeah, go on with the elderly and nursing homes and all the unnatural lights where you suffer severely diminished ability to absorb calcium. Oh, yet when the lights were replaced with special bulbs designed to simulate sunlight, their calcium absorption was increased by 50% within a month. Even more disturbing research conducted by scientists has indicated that fluorescent lighting can cause genetic mutations, cancer, and death in the cells of many life forms, including humans. Oh gosh. It's not good news, is it? So much good news that what the sun can do to us. Now, Gary, do you know he mentioned here about special bulbs to design to simulate sunlight. Do you know of those? I didn't even know of this. I may be here alone again because I think Gary is stuck. Katie has a computer problems that makes a hell of a noise.
Okay, I'm back.
There you are.
Yeah, well, there was some noise here, so I shut my mic off and I forgot.
Oh,
So, yeah, I believe that it is like a tanning bulb. I
huh.
think that's what they're talking about is like infrared light, tanning bulbs.
So if you would use that, like for me in my office, then I would at least benefit somewhat for the long hours I spend at the computer.
Yeah, well, seeing that's a computer too, you're getting blue light into your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have my glasses have protection.
Okay. But that's something that we should talk about as far as like the people watching goes, that they have blue light blockers. Because they don't have to have blue light coming out of this phone or out of your computer. They don't have to do that. They did that, as far as I'm concerned, on purpose. And what it does is it messes up your melatonin and serotonin. And that's what wearing sunglasses does, because you're shading your eyes and they're not getting the full spectrum. You know, in your windows, in your vehicles, in your cars, they have UV blockers in there. And some of those blocks are things that are really healthy for us. You know, and the other thing we haven't talked about is fire. So like, if you're gonna talk light, the sun charges us. That's why we get tired at the end of the day. We're burning energy. And at night, the moonlight is cooling. So the sun is heating us up, and when we sleep, we're cooling down. It's a low oxygen event. Um, because we're between those two worlds. And if your body's functioning properly, you sleep well. But if it's not functioning properly, there's too much acid, not enough oxygen, you're dehydrated. Your body's not going to let you rest at night. You're going to be waking up in the middle of the night, maybe 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because your body is literally dying of thirst, suffocating, and is lacking of minerals, nutrients. And those are things that'll protect you from the sun. Those are things that empower your body to give you more energy, more power. We've talked about this in the past. Is muscles. We're trained to focus on the muscle, and the muscle is important, yes, but it's not the ultimate mover of the body. Energy is what moves the muscle, and then the muscle moves the body. A perfect example of that is somebody who's in a wheelchair and there's no function from the hips down, or you know, from the neck down, or is an arm or a hand or whatever. Well, those muscles are still there. So why aren't they moving? Because there's no energy. We're 6 batteries stacked on top of each other, which has to do with sunlight and moonlight and the fire, the colors in the fire help create melatonin so that we can go to sleep. And when we sleep, serotonin is built. Well, if the process is off, then our signals from our cells up to our brain telling us what we need is corrupted. And it's interrupting our sleep patterns. It's interrupting our energy patterns, our health patterns, our everything. And everything is frequency. They just gave it a name. That's all they did. And I don't care what you're talking about, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, Parkinson's, MS, those are all frequencies. And divine energy is at the top of the list, and that's when you're healthy. It's when your body's really doing well. And as it lowers, it doesn't mean you have, but you'll be susceptible to things like cold and flu and fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's and Parkinson's and MS and cancer. They just gave them a name so you won't know their frequency. Because that's what happens when your breath is shallow. You're not getting enough oxygen and the cells get sick. They have dis-ease. There is no disease in the world. There's dis-ease. This is one of the great illusions that they've created. So as we are hydrating and nutrifying with fruits, berries, melons, veggies, you know, bone broths, vegetable broths, depends on what your diet is. But I mean, there's a broth for everything, and you can make it right at home, which would be 10 times better than a packaged one. And you start drinking that, it takes less digestive fluids to process that, which means there's more energy to heal your body. That's why detoxing works. It's not just an astringent that's pulling things out of the body that it doesn't need and opening the lymphatic pathways. It's redefining your whole body. It's rebuilding it so the energy can flow through freely and you'll get your health back. And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a name, we stop at that name, but it's actually just a frequency. And through breath and hydration and nutrition and cleaning up the lymphatic system, the body will retune itself because we're basically a big tuning fork. And we run on a certain frequency, and it's a little different for every one of us. And tuning in, you know, we're a guest in this vehicle, this body. And we have been taught everything possible to dumb it down and not listen to it. And we need to start listening to our body. It's the only thing in this world that cannot lie to you. And that is just the truth. You hit your thumb, you're going to know it. You stub your toe, you're going to know it. you eat really good food that's hydrating, nutrifying, and you add some breath in there, your body's going to heal because there's a lack of those things that made it sick. So I think I'll end right there.
I was just scrolling through the whole lesson.
Uh-huh.
And it has a big section about air and breathing.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get to that today. I mean, it's almost we've been on for an hour and a half.
Okay.
We can talk about that next week. We'll just see where it goes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I should be able to join in next week too.
yeah, you already promised you would be there, so you have no choice.
Oh yeah. I thought this was the 20th. It's not the 20th.
No, today it's the
Nope.
13th.
Well, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stable where I am right now as far as like I have a place to stay with the nomad camps and so yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Gary, can you cause I'm sorry. I was going to ask you if you have a direct link to if people want to donate money for you and help you with your trips.
Uh, I don't know how to do that. So I think
Okay,
the answer is
now
no, but I do
let's do
have
it
Venmo.
let's do it a different way then. I have directly on the description of this video, I have a funding option, and that was meant to be some money coming in so we can actually help more people for the
Okay.
ones who cannot afford to talk to us because, you know, let's be real, we need to make a living too, although what Gary said before we even started this podcast, he wished you could always do it for free. And the same is for me too. And I've done it for donations only, and barely any came in. And I worked
Mhm.
hard for over 2 years to a point was like, I really have to get some money in. And we're not seeking to be wealthy, but it is an energy exchange. And if you want to donate something for Gary for his trip to Europe, or for all the work that he has been doing from EFT to all his breathing exercises, Kichang teaching us and always being here, and it's over a year now on the podcast and teaches us a lot, then please do so. The link is right there, and I'll make sure it gets to Gary.
Thank you very much. And
Okay.
yes, and we want to take this around the world is what the goal is.
Yeah,
And that's what all donations will go to exactly that. It's
yeah.
not none of it for me.
No, it's like it's for me, it's like now I'm in the process of developing courses and a long-term coaching program. I am writing a book. Now, for the book, Gary, I asked you to write a foreword and you said yes. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be honored.
don't forget. Don't
No,
forget.
no.
And it is like it's a big project, so I put a lot of time in it. I would love if people would send me testimonials about it could be what Gary's work has done to them, like so I will put them in the book with your name or first name and initial of your last name, however you like it to be. It's going to be an quite intensive book with a recipe, and it's not only a book. And so far, we have the title as the Natural Healing Blueprints. It may change, it may come up with better solutions. If anyone has a better solution, let me know. But I would love to add your reviews of what the work that Dr. Morse had shared, that we have shared, added in the section in the book, because there will be a lot of resources in it also. And although healing and detoxing is not really about the cooking process and the beautiful, delicious recipes, it's more of eliminating what we shouldn't add. There is a time that we are transitioning and later on balancing our life with healthy recipes. So if you want a recipe in that book, go ahead, let me know. It will be, I expect the book to be around 150 pages, and maybe it's going to be more. I don't know where it goes yet. I do have the text ready, so now it's just, how do you say that? Dotting the I's, and there was something with the T.
Crossing the T's.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So this is all that we work on, and what Gary said, he wants to take it around the world in person, actually, and
Mhm.
build something up from there. I do it through the internet, and we will see if we can get Gary's videos all centered in the new platform that I'm working on. And, we need to get this information out. So, meaning that liking this video and sharing it is also important. So it gets, more people get to see it, and YouTube shows it more because sometimes I don't know if we are, shadow banned. We don't know.
Mhm.
We, of course, at some times we would like to say more than what we can say here. And I have a video hosting platform where we can actually host lives and say whatever we want. But we would have to promote it then in a different way because
Mhm.
YouTube, it is the platform to go to, or even what was the other one? I forgot. There's another platform that a lot of people move to. And I do have an account there, but I never uploaded my videos there. So maybe in the future, and then we can talk about a few more things than what we can on YouTube. But so far, so good. I mean, we have wonderful, well, plans, ideas, and that we're all working out, and a lot of it is already working. So, and I'm so happy for people listening to us throughout the years because we've been doing this like 5 years now. At least I have,
Mhm.
every Thursday. So now it's going to be after the 20th. It will be a break until the second Thursday in January, where Carrie may or may not be with us. We shall see how it
Yeah,
goes.
we'll see what we can do, because I'll be in Europe at that point. I'm gonna try and have a SIM card made so that, it's a digital download now instead of you don't have to take your phone apart. And it'll allow me to talk, uh, like on Zoom and things like that with being charged an arm and a leg from being overseas. I think
Okay.
it's $75 for a month. Might not even be that. No, it was, I think $3 for a month. Jody found that online. I haven't heard anything yet, but we're gonna set all our phones up that way so that we can do calls without the long distance charge. I mean, we have WhatsApp, but I don't know how that would work with Zoom. I don't know how Zoom works in that situation.
Yeah, well, I think we all find out as we go. Unfortunately, Katie could not stay on. Her computer is messed up,
Yeah.
making so much noise that it just wasn't working. So I hope that she can fix that soon. Um, I just looked at the question section. Episode 184 is up again. Is it edited? No, I didn't edit any of the videos. I didn't have the time for it, or I didn't take the time for it. So I just put it on DinTube. And I have to look at it if it's back up because it was completely disappeared
Yeah.
on YouTube. So I don't
So
know.
I had one that I did, and in the video, I mentioned that all the foods that are making us sick are approved by the FDA. And when I watched the video, it played through, and when I got to that part, it had cut all that out. It just clipped and kept going. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what I talked about there. And then I remembered what it was. And, because it is true. All those foods are approved by the
Yeah,
FDA.
let's
And
be careful.
yeah, well, they put it back up. Yeah,
Yeah.
with it in there.
Yeah, I'm looking at no the video about fasting is not back up. So I'm looking in the studio part of the YouTube, my YouTube channel. No, it's still missing. But I do have it, and anyone who wants it, I can send the link. I can send you the PDF of what we talked about today and what we even didn't get to today. And yeah. We wish everyone a beautiful rest of the week and be happy, be the light. And thanks, Katie, for trying. And till the next week. And of course, thank you so much, Gary. We love you. I love you.
Yeah, well, we love you guys too. All right, guys.
All right. Take care,
All right.
everyone. Till soon. Bye bye.
All right.